Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Changing Minds Podcast Season 2. I am Owen Fitzpatrick and this is episode 9, I want to say. Yeah, it's 9. And this one is really about self-belief. And the reality is that one of the things that I talk to a lot of people about, a lot of people ask me about, how do you improve your self-belief? How do you build like sort of sustainable self-belief? So I wanted to talk about self-belief today because I believe that one of the most important reasons why people succeed is as a result of how much they believe in themselves. And a lot of times our beliefs about ourselves will dictate how successful that we come across, and therefore also how persuasive we are with other people as well. We know that confidence, if you haven't already checked out Influence School, it's an incredible opportunity, changingmindsacademy.com. But in Influence School, one of the factors that makes a person more successful or more persuasive is, of course, confidence. And confidence isn't just something you can fake where you just like pretend to look confident. You need to actually build self-belief. So when we talk about self-belief, what are we really talking about? And I want to start off by talking about what a belief is. So to me, a belief is an idea that we attach certainty to. And in many ways, we start having an idea, and then it turns with a bit of certainty, it turns into an opinion. This is just the way I think about it. It turns into an opinion. Then with a bit more certainty, it turns into a belief. And then if it gets really strong, a lot more tension or evidence is shown, then it turns into a conviction where we're absolutely certain about a particular thing. Now, when we talk about self-belief, really, it's not just that we don't believe in ourselves. Obviously, we know we exist. It's not like I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in myself. I believe in this. I don't believe in the tooth fairy. What really is important is that we recognize we do believe in ourselves. It's just whether or not we believe we're as good as we want to be, or we believe that we can do whatever it is that we want to do. Whether or not we're good enough is really, when we talk about self-belief, what most people describe or talk about or discuss. So when I say self-belief, the first thing to recognize is that I'm not saying that we don't believe in ourselves at a very logical level. It's that we don't have the certainty to the ideas of us being good enough or us being able to achieve what we want. So we need to build certainty and attach that certainty to the ideas of us being the kind of people that we want to be. Now, there's a few things that causes problems with this. The first is what we call imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is that we feel that we're out of our depth. We're literally bullshitting our way through life. And a lot of people struggle with imposter syndrome. They feel like, who am I to be doing this? Especially if you're in the coaching world, or if you're in the training world, or speaking, you're an expert in some way. It can be very easy for you to feel out of your depth, or very easy for you to feel like, well, and if you don't, there might be something wrong with you. Like if you think you know it all, and you think you have all the answers, there's so much information out there. You can't have all of the information, all the answers. So if you think you know it all the time, then that could mean that you've got a problem on the other side, that you believe too much that you are a certain type of person. And therefore, that could be problematic for you down the line. And it also could lead you to bullshitting a lot of people when you can really help them. And so it's imperative that we recognize that imposter syndrome is, in some ways, it could be looked as sort of benevolent in that it's trying to make sure that we don't become too arrogant or think that we are better than we are. A lot of times, it's the people that believe that they know it all are the very people that need to learn the most. And it's a little bit like what I think I was talking to one of the guys that wrote the book, The $1 Trillion Coach. I mentioned in the episode last week on coaching. And Jonathan Rosenberg, he quoted a very famous... was it a basketball? John Wooden, right? A very famous sports coach in America. And he said, it's what you know, it's what you learn after you know it all that makes the difference, or something along those lines. I'm probably butchering the quote, but it's what you know after you know it all. It's what you learn after you know it all that makes the difference. And I love that. And the reason I love that is because in many cases, the biggest impediment we have a lot of times is that we think we have all the answers. And imposter syndrome is like the opposite. We think that we're literally like guessing and randomly guessing. And so here's how I would suggest, in terms of a remedy, here's how I suggest we start to think about these things. First and foremost, I believe that pretty much everybody's winging it. What do I mean? I believe that in most cases, maybe not all, but in the vast majority of cases, most people are winging it. In other words, they don't know what's going on. You talk to parents when they have a kid, and a lot of it will come to them naturally and intuitively, but they're guessing. They're just like trying to figure out what the fuck am I supposed to do, and they're reading books and they're listening to their friends and they're trying to figure out what to do. But you don't know how to become a parent. You've watched your own parents, but they weren't perfect, and you don't know how to become a parent. You don't really know how to be in a relationship. Again, you're learning, you're adapting, but no one's born and going, okay, here you go to school for relationships, and now you've demonstrated a level of perfection so that you never need to do it. Even brain surgery. When brain surgeons do what they do, a lot of times it's touch and go. You never know whether or not you're going to achieve it. So knowing that you might not be right all the time is important. That you might have to have, as a surgeon, you might have to have an absolute conviction that you're the best, that you can do whatever it is. So you might need to have that self-belief. But it's normal and natural for most people to ask themselves the question, do I have what it takes? And so when you have that, I like the idea of reminding everyone that, look, we're all winging it. We all don't know we're just giving it our best shot. And it doesn't mean that I'm not like me, when I'm doing what I'm doing, it doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't mean that I don't do my research. It doesn't mean that I don't know as much as anybody in this area. But in the areas that I work in, you never know that everything's going to go according to plan. And you have to accept that sometimes you're just winging it. But winging it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Winging it isn't that you're just randomly just trying to do something that you're useless or incompetent at. Winging it could mean that you know your stuff. You're the best out there at doing something. But you're not 100% sure if you're going to get the result in that moment. But you're betting on yourself. And literally that's what it is. You're betting on yourself. You're not sure, you're not 100%, but you're betting on yourself. And once you allow yourself to bet on yourself, it really helps you to I suppose, knock the imposter syndrome on the head. When I think about it, I don't really struggle with the imposter syndrome at all because I bet on myself. I believe that whatever happens, I can handle it. Now, I've demonstrated that in the past, but I remind myself that I can handle it, and therefore I work really, really hard to make sure that I win that bet. But it is, after all, always a bet. And we're all making bets all the time on it. If you've got a promotion and you're not sure whether you can handle it, let me tell you this, you can handle it. If you're struggling with something and you don't know if you're going to be able to get it through, let me tell you this, you can get through. If you want to succeed in something, you're working really hard to make it happen, let me tell you this, you can make it happen. You won't guarantee it, but by you betting on yourself and believing in yourself and saying, right, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to give it 100%, I'm going to try everything I can, then at least you give yourself a shot. Do you know? You know what I'm saying? You get me? You with me? Anyway. The point is, imposter syndrome is something that can get us. Another thing that can get us is this whole idea of comparing ourselves to other people. I've talked about this in different podcasts before, but we look at other people doing really well and then we feel insecure as a result of that. So we look and go, oh, they've got it all, it's perfect, blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, we're comparing ourselves to them and we feel worse. Look, at the end of the day, the main thing that you need to do is to recognize, to always begin to look beyond whatever pictures or photographs or even facts of life that you have there. When you see really successful people, when you see top models or movie stars or sports stars, and it's very easy to look at yourself and go, God, they're only whatever, 25, 27, 30, and they're so successful, and they're so amazing, they're so this and that and the other, and they're so cool. But the truth of the matter is that we all have different things to offer. And some people are better at this, some people are born rich, some people are born tall, some people are born good looking. Some people are born with different qualities, and to an extent you just have to suck it up and accept it. You are who you are. Now that doesn't mean you can't improve or grow or learn or develop. It doesn't mean you can't look at these people that are doing well and go, well, what can I learn from them? How can I improve that? It doesn't mean that you can't decide with every fiber of your soul that I'm going to move forward, I'm going to do everything I can do to get the result that I want. Of course you can. You can do all of that stuff. You can make a decision right now today to go, right, I'm going to do everything I can to get the kind of result that I want, right? But with that being said, when you look at other people, you have to accept that some people have advantages in different areas and some people have disadvantages. And it's not really about what's fair. I mean, you know, with genetics, with life circumstances, life is not fair. It's never been fair. And it was probably never supposed to be fair. But it's about what we can do with whatever we've gotten. How we play our own cards, that's what matters. And so what's really vital is that we do everything that we can do to move forward and to get the kind of results that we want. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that when you start the comparison process, recognizing, number one, they're just fucking better in that. You know, they're taller than you. There's nothing you can do about it. They're stronger than you, right? So what can you learn from that? And is there something that you can allow that to inspire in you? But accepting the reality and then working on what you can work on to improve the quality of your life, to me, that's the way to be able to handle that. And then the other thing that people struggle with is, you know, not feeling good enough, not feeling good about themselves, feeling like they're not good enough, that they don't have whatever it takes, let's say. And really, whenever people speak like that, they're always very vague in it. It's like, I'm not good enough. Well, what do you mean by that? Oh, I'm just haven't. Just haven't what? Like, what are you not good enough at? Because it's never about you not being a good enough person. You know, even if you're morally a bad, like, even if you're a bastard, even if you're a fucking horrible person, which I hope nobody watching this podcast, if you're a horrible person, switch it off. I don't want you. I don't want you anywhere near me, right? I don't want your negative, mean, soulless eyes to be on my fucking YouTube or listening to the thing, you know. If you're a troll, go on. I'll at some point I'll do a nice little episode for you, and you can. But anyway, my point is that you have, even if you are like not a great person, it's not that you're not good enough. It's that you're not good enough at being a good person in that context, if you get me. So you're always not good enough at something you're doing, right? As opposed to your essence of you as a person. And a lot of times we need to make a disconnect between what we do either in our head or what we do in terms of our behavior versus who we are. Because I believe that you are everything you can be at your absolute best. And I use that idea because it helps me to start to try my best to keep improving and work on myself and growing on myself, you know, on a regular basis. It allows me to be able to do that. And that's kind of where I'm coming from that point of view. So with all that in mind, when we talk about beliefs and we talk about, you know, ideas and moving into opinions and then beliefs and then convictions, one thing is to challenge the beliefs you have about yourself. So, because it's not that you lack self-belief, it's that you don't believe the kinds of things about how good you are at certain things. So what you need to do is figure out what beliefs you do have about yourself and challenge the ones that aren't useful. And then to be able to build your self-belief, there's a few things that can happen. So obviously challenging the beliefs, you could use CBT, but certainly use NLP and the meta model questions to challenge those particular beliefs about yourself, about who you are, about all that sort of jazz. But also what we can do is we can give ourselves a chance by the stories we tell ourselves. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about the story you tell yourself about yourself and how to work through and author that or change that. But there's a few simple tricks or strategies I want to outline for you in terms of how to believe in yourself more. First thing is I want you to recognize and spend time thinking about what you've achieved. So remind yourself of all the great things you've achieved in the past. Because the more whatever your attention's on dictates how you feel. So if your attention is on all the great achievements that you've made, then you're much more likely to feel good about yourself and feel like you are capable. So focus on your achievement and spend some time thinking through what you've achieved and what you've managed to do. Next, work on your growth mindset. Your growth mindset is the recognition and realization that you need to have that you can improve, that you can grow, that you can be better, that you can do better, that you're not stuck in this fixed. Carol Dweck, in her great research, she looked in her book Mindset, she talked about fixed versus growth mindset and found out that some people think that they're fixed. I am who I am, I can never change, this is who I'll be forever, versus growth mindset, which is I can improve, I can develop, I can grow, I can become better. And the people that have a growth mindset are way more likely to do better than people that have a fixed mindset. So focus on recognizing that you can grow, that you can improve and adopt this growth mindset. So first achievement, second growth mindset, the third is lessons. What lessons or learnings have you gotten? Given that you can grow and given that you've achieved things in the past, what can you learn or what have you learned that helps you to be better? And as you write it down and start to look over all of the things that you've learned, you'll recognize that you can improve. It'll reinforce the growth mindset and help you and give you a sort of a roadmap towards building on yourself and building in yourself exactly what you need to succeed. The next thing that you need is hope. Now, hope is something that a lot of people talk about. Some people say false hope and all that sort of stuff, but Hope is the belief that things can get better. And right now, whatever circumstance or situation you find yourself in, I can promise you this, things can get better. They might not always get better, but they can get better, and you need to hold out that hope. And when you hold the hope that things can get better, and you recognize that you've achieved things in the past, and you're able to build a growth mindset and remember the lessons you've learned in the past, then you start to develop this belief, not just in yourself, but your belief about your capacity to achieve what is it that you want. You need to also, as well as hope, remind yourself and remember that there's people in your life that believe in you. There's people in your life that are rooting for you, that want you to succeed, people that support you, people that care, people who believe in you. And when you remember that there's people who believe in you, that can help you. Sometimes as a coach, the most important thing I can give to the people I work with is I believe in themselves so much that they start to believe in themselves as well. And so you need to recognize and remember who are the people that believe in you and why do they believe in you. And when you ask yourself these questions, the answers are because you're worth believing in, because you're a lot more capable than you might think you are. And that gives you a phenomenal ability to be able to move forward and achieve the kind of result that you want. And then we have other people's success stories, people that triumphed over adversity, inspirational speakers, these amazing, thought leaders who went through hell and managed to overcome. If they can do it, you can do it too. And in fact, you've then your own stories, the times that you've overcome adversity, the things that you've managed to achieve, the things that you've managed to get simply by recognizing that you didn't have to be confined by whatever was happening to you, the circumstances that you found yourself facing at that moment in time. You could triumph over, you could win, you could emerge victorious from the gauntlet. And so I want you to begin to consider that your beliefs about who you are, your beliefs about the way in which you deal with whatever goes on in your life, all of them are a lot more changeable than you think. And you have the ability to be able to overcome some of the toughest pieces of adversity that might come your way. And when we talk about self-belief, to believe more in you at your very best, to believe more that you can do this, you've got this, you need to actively start to remind yourself of the people who believe in you, the fact that they've done it, the fact that you've done it, the achievements that you've had in the past, the fact that you can grow and improve, the lessons that you've learned. And then you need to remember to hope, to believe in a better future. Now, some people say, well, hope is bad because when you hope, you believe in a better future, and then, you get disappointed. Disappointment, as Dr. Richard Bandler says, requires adequate planning. And I 100% agree. The key is, though, is that just because you hope doesn't necessarily mean that you're planning for disappointment. Because hope is not to do with disappointment. Hope is the belief in a better future. And if you believe in a better future, and you recognize that you have the capacity to work on yourself and grow and improve, and you remind yourself that you've done incredibly before and you can do again, then the world is your oyster. You can do whatever it is that you set out to. And that in turn gives you that sense of self-belief, that sense of conviction in yourself to recognize you've got this. You're going to be able to do it. I don't care how difficult it is. If you work hard enough, you can get the result that you want. You can achieve what it is that you want. I believe in you. And the reason I believe in you isn't because I know exactly who you are. It's because I know the power of human potential. And I know when you make a decision, that one decision and the commitment to that decision and the actions that originate from that decision can transform your world. I know because it's happened to lots of clients I've worked with, and it's happened in my own life for myself. So I wish that for you. So I hope you found this useful. I hope that you continue to subscribe to my podcast on iTunes and on Instagram and YouTube. And I hope that you continue to have the most incredible day. And thank you very much for watching, and take it easy. Bye for now. Cheers. Thanks for watching.